This is entirely this guy's fault that I'm talking to you like this, because it is... Shut up. He totally made me do this. Whatever. We're here at Scarborough Fair in beautiful Waxahachie, Texas for the annual Scarborough Fair.
Intro won't get any better than that. I'd just screw it up. Let's go. This is Scarborough Renaissance Fair, which is about 30 miles south of Dallas in Waxahachie, Texas. Now, you may have never been to a Renaissance Fair, so short and sweet is it's usually some rural place like this, and there are villages and there are crafters and vendors and cast members that dress in period clothes and walk around and talk like this. They're gonna harass you and they're gonna heckle you, kind of like the stormtroopers at Hollywood Studios, but with a much more gruff brr accent. Even though a lot of the characters in Star Wars are also English, coincidentally. Anyway, Ren fairs are very interesting places because a lot of people who work them travel the country, and that's all they do, from Ren fair to Ren fair to Ren fair. I'm very much more a tourist. I've only ever been to this one because it's close to home. I don't travel to go to Ren fairs. So I just come down here and enjoy ale and wine and things of that nature, and walk around and talk to people and see stuff. If you've ever been to the UK Pavilion at Epcot, it's kind of like that, but without all the corporate money backing it. The grounds are dirt and gravel, and it's got a very peaceful, earthy tone. And this particular fair takes place in the springtime, so it's always green. Everything is green and lush, and you really kind of feel like you're in the woods. So it's an interesting experience. If you've never been to one, definitely find a Ren fair near you and check it out at least once. You might hate it, and you might love it, and you might run off and join the circus, as it were, and be a Rennie. I don't know, either way, it's something you should do at some point in your life. We make a point to come here once a year because, well, it's something to do, and that's why you're here with us. Go do stuff. Let's go. Cool. It's a haunted castle. Of course we're gonna go check it out. That was cool. It's like a Tower of London spooky wax museum kind of thing, but there was a story about three sisters and how they like murdered everybody, and a lot of cool eye candy in there. Really cool. Unfortunately, they didn't want us to do video, so no inside video, but very cool attraction, and only $3 too. Right around the corner from the scary castle is the Mythical Monster Museum. Now, we have history, we know these people. Maybe they'll let us take video, but it's also been a few years since we were inside.
Welcome to the Mythical Monster Museum. My name is Lucien Baptiste. I'm the area werewolf hunter. I only have a couple of very simple rules for you. First off, please do not leave any garbage inside of the museum when you leave. Take it all with you so she can not stay. Also, if you happen to be in here, please do not touch any of the items inside the museum. Some of our items are old, rusty, dusty, musty, pussy, possibly explosive and or cursed. Other than that, enjoy. If you have any questions, feel free to ask.
And that's been a look at the Mythical Monster Museum. Very cool. Okay, these are cool. I like the hanging bats copper sculptures. Those are really cool.
Wait till you see what's inside.
There's more inside?
Oh my gosh. I mean,
that's awesome.
Why wouldn't you want that in your house?
Oh, dude, these are all cool.
Video record. God, that's such a good idea.
This is like it's like one of the stores at Diagon Alley. Harry Potter, all this cool stuff.
You gotta have a bone there.
Yeah.
Working our way down the far end in search of beer. I know there's a bar at the far end of the fairground down here. Here's one of the many shows going on. Acrobats. Now it's officially a Ren Fair because I've got ale. And I'm drinking from the period vessel.
And me.
The disposable plastic cup. It's fun. You go to buy drinks or food or anything. It's like, hello, my lord. Good day, my lord. Will you be using MasterCard, my lord? Visa, my lord. Oh, very nice. Yield Visa, yield MasterCard. I love it. It's so stereotypically, we're going to theme everything to be old. It's like when you go to Star Wars land and they call it credits. You don't have dollars, you have credits. But here everything's ye old and my lord, my lady.
The irony.
Alright, so we got another beer for the road. We're walking to the other side of the festival now. See what else we can see. And wouldn't you know it, as fate would have it, we're being cock-blocked by a parade. That's right. I hate parades. If you've seen any of my other videos, you know that I hate parades. And so I guess we're going to watch this parade, and I might do some commentary over it. So apologies in advance. Here's parade commentary. So the first and foremost problem with this parade is there's no floats. None whatsoever. It's just people on foot, which is not that different from customers on foot in the middle of the road. Just because they're all walking the same direction, and they're all dressed in semi-period clothing, and they have signs, they think they're better than us. I could be walking in the road right now, but I'd be going the wrong way according to them. They have to keep marching even when they stop moving, otherwise they'll lose their rhythm, forget where they were. I don't know why they stopped. Maybe there was a deer crossing the road or something. I'm unsure.
Everyone, get louder than me! Come on! This is the fun part of the parade!
I wonder if they ever have drum battles, try to outdrum the other guys at the front who can drum louder. It's a very windy day. A lot of them are having problems with their giant hats because of the wind.
This is where all the cool people are.
I stand by my opinion. I hate parades, and that parade was weak. There wasn't a single float. We're crossing the Eagles Crossing Bridge into the other section. Now we have crossed the bridge into the, well, I want to call it the food court because that building over there is like lots of different places to eat.
Isn't this Sherwood Forest?
No, it's not Sherwood Forest. It's, there's Crown Meadow and two other sections. I don't remember them all, nor do I know which one's which. So we're on this side now. That's how we're going to call it. There's a staple food here that I feel like I must get every time. It's like going to the state fair and having to get a corn dog. You just have to do it. Here it's steak served on a steak. God damn, it's hot. Actually, it's really delicious.
Why is everything you eat
Good, right? Steak on a steak. Has a good zing to it. Not as much so etouffee in a loaf. And the staple of any good Ren fair, the privies. It's time to go pee in a horse trough next to some other random dudes.
seahorses?
I think I know how I want to do the backyard now, babe. No joke. I want all of this stuff in my backyard. It's such cool art and water features. And luminaires. Put these all over my fence. Alright, so here's the bad news on jousting. All the cool shit you just saw, which I also want to point out, for the first time ever, I've seen a lady night out there with the guys kicking ass and taking names, and that's awesome. But anyway, there was some great combat. I showed you some of that a minute ago. But of course, they want to pick a fight, and they say, well, like, I want to joust to the death, and then the guy in charge says, all right, come back later for the late show. It's like wrestling, when all the free shows, they do more talking than wrestling, and they're like, watch the pay-per-view, we'll do more cool stuff on the pay-per-view. And this is kind of put up the same way. So maybe we'll circle back around and we'll catch the late show where they joust to the death. Either way, it's impressive action, especially out here in the heat. Although, to be honest, I prefer the more historically accurate jousting of medieval times with its air conditioning and Pepsi.
That's how they show their run around their pride. They said it was a sin and shame, and they winked at one another. And every day in the place was full, the night that Murphy died. They stopped the hearse on Winchell Street outside Sundance Saloon. They all went in at half-past 8 and staggered out at noon. They went up to that graveyard so holy and divine. They found out when they got there that they'd left the corpse behind. That's how they show their respect for Patty Murphy. That's how they show their honor and their pride. They said it was a sin and shame, and they winked at one another. And every drink in the place was full the night that Murphy died. Hey!
I may have mentioned earlier, I can't remember if I did, my mom would bring me out here when I was a little kid, so I kind of grew up coming here every year, and I remember one of my favorite things was the shows. We would just go watch the shows, and so many of these shows are comedy-based, comedy shows, but there's juggling, there's knife throwing, there's some acrobatics, there's all kinds of great stuff like that, and the performer just behind us that we were watching, I mean, it's a dirty show, it's a really dirty show, and it's at the small like pub theater venue here, and they tell you up front it's a dirty show. If you have kids, leave, you know, and it gets pretty vile. But one thing I always admired growing up, and I think helped shape my sense of humor, was that so many of these shows are raunchy, bawdy humor, but the majority of them kind of go right up to the line, and they don't necessarily cross it, or they get super suggestive. Now, this is back in the 90s, you know, when when TV was more regulated. Now you can stream anything on Netflix that's damn near X-rated, so kids now may be different than then, but I always appreciated the finesse that came along with saying incredibly dirty things without actually saying anything dirty. It's horrible implied stuff that you could technically say on TV that is just god-awful if you said it outright. So that's something I always appreciate. Then there's shows like this where they just sing about dicks all the time, and it's also hilarious. We got a lovely song about gonorrhea. It's another thing, the belly dancers. I remember watching it. Mind you, I was like 11, 12 years old, so, you know, puberty hadn't kicked in, but that might as well have been a strip club to me at that age. I just remember watching these women dance like, holy shit, this is insane. My mom can't know I'm watching. And my mom knew I was watching, she brought me here. But now it's like, oh no, they're talented dancers. That's an art form in itself. So, time's in perspective. Guess that's what I'm trying to say. Now, we are headed back to the other end because we have tickets for Seamus's beer show.
Beer show! Beer show!
Seamus is actually a real-life friend of ours and is a certified cicerone, which is like a sommelier but for beer. Knows everything about beer, can tell you everything about beer, can talk about beer. You fall asleep, you wake up the next day, he's still there talking about beer. All the time, beer, 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 beer. But he actually has a show out here where you get to sample, I think, 6 different beers, and in addition to that, they get food samples, and he talks about the history of the beer and why it's called that kind of beer, and what food pairs well with that beer, and beer, 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 beer. But a lot of people don't think of beer like that, like the way they think of wine, but it's really very similar.
Are we supposed to rate it? All right, so here's the thing about your tasting notes. Number one, it's very subjective. There are no right and wrong answers on the paper. I put down numbers that correspond with how you feel about it on a scale of 1 to 10. How about that? So it's very personal. I'm not going to grade it afterwards and go, she didn't know what she was doing. She didn't listen at all. All right. Out of this beer, I'm going to shock everybody in the room and tell you that I smell hay. Oh, wait, I didn't use that anecdote. I grew up on a farm, so I smell hay and a lot of beer. This goes back to that life experience thing, right? My life experience includes days and days in a hay wagon with my dad trying to hit me with bales kicked out of a baler, right? So I smell hay in a lot of things that even master cicerones don't get hay out of. Doesn't mean I'm wrong, doesn't mean they're right. It means we have different life experience. However, the predominant thing in this glass, bread dough, maybe some light cracker. I brought this beer in specifically for the malt, because that's what this beer is all about, is the malt.
Just went through Seamus's beer show here at the Village Green, and again, fantastic. If you don't know anything about beer and you want to learn about beer, this is a great way to do it. And if you do know about beer and you just want to drink some good beer with someone else who is extremely knowledgeable of beer, then come see the Seamus show. But I also want to point out the Village Green here is tucked away. It's kind of hidden. It's around a corner. I know they do special events here and corporate events and things like that. But if they're not, it is just open, and they do the Seamus Beer Show. And then they also have Sir Arthur Greenleaf Holmes. I promise I haven't been drinking. And he does more inappropriate poetry and inappropriate jokes and comedy. But entertainment aside, this is just a great venue here because it's tucked away. It's quiet, it's shady, it's not busy. It is under the cover of trees, as well as the big pavilion canopy here. So if you do make it out here to Scarborough, be sure to just go find the Village Green and see what's happening over there, or over here, however you want to look at it. I'm here, you're there, you're watching. Come here, be here with me, do stuff.
They have eucalyptus now.
Yes to eucalyptus, all the eucalyptus. Where are we? Roman Bath?
We are at Roman Bath,
Roman Bath.
as is tradition.
Soap and...
We get a year's worth of soap here.
Soap, that's true. She will stock us up on soap for the entire year.
Oh my God, smell this. This is new.
Oh yeah, that smells good.
That's new.
Great, throw it in
It's
there.
very exciting.
I like the Yield Dr. Pepper umbrellas. This section of the park is called Taylor Lane, or Tree Branch Obstructing Sign Lane.
Hello.
Hello.
We have a question we would like to ask a mermaid.
Do you have a question you want to ask the mermaid? Please.
Because if
How-
you don't,
Often do you need to be back in full water?
as long as I do not dry out completely, I can stay out of the water as long as necessary.
So do either of you got anything you'd like to ask a mermaid?
It's your department, mermaid asking.
Okay.
I will warn you, if you don't have a question, I'm forced to tell you a really terrible joke.
Oh, terrible joke. Oh, well, we actually don't have any questions for the moist mermaid.
So, do you know who grants wishes for mermaids?
No.
It's our fairy godmother.
Wah, wah, wah.
Do you
Love
know
it.
what Kraken's favourite thing to eat is?
What?
Fish and chips. Do you know what the Atlantic Ocean said to the Pacific?
What?
See you later.
No, they didn't say anything. They waved.
Okay.
Ah, they've got it. Every good attraction ends in the gift shop. The wind is picking up in the parking lot. Woo! Windy and dusty. But hey, we Scarborough. You got some bitchin' new earrings. They're all blue and rocky and stuff. So yeah, lots of cool vendors here. I wouldn't have time to showcase every single vendor, but there's definitely some cool and unique stuff here. And so it's cool. It's a shopping experience. There's shows, there's food, there's drinking, there is interaction with cast. There's all kinds of fun stuff, and they do offer season passes. I can see why you couldn't possibly do this all in one day, but we did a lot of it. We did all the important stuff, at least the stuff that's important to us. But if you haven't been to a Ren Fair, go check out your local Ren Fair. It's a ton of fun. Here at Scarborough Fair in Waxahachie, Texas is our local Ren Fair. But anyway, thank y'all for watching. Be sure to subscribe, blah, 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 all that stuff. And more importantly, go do stuff.